everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am your guide, ManBearPig97, and today we are back with another day our survival. Now, for those of you who have actually been keeping up recently, I do apologize that I haven't been able to produce a video in the past couple of days. Here, down south in the southern part, like Arkansas, for instance, we got, we were only supposed to get about 7 to 8 inches of snow. I'm 31 years old. Never in my life that I can ever recall ever seeing the 18 to 19 inches that we got over the past couple of days. First, it started with a little freezing rain and sleet, then the temperatures bottomed out, dropped down to like 3 degrees, and it just was nasty. We ended up getting too much snow. It had us snowed in for days. All day, every day, I was out with my father-in-law digging out what I could. We wound up having water lines and all kinds, drains, everything freezing up. I had to replace. It was a replacement, and it was just not kosher. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to take the time to produce any videos. I'd literally been going from sun up to sundown. Was too tired and exhausted from digging ourselves out to really want to do anything. So today we're back. That being said, we left off at the Institute of Virology, so let's start that quest. The building had been hardly damaged at all in the nuclear attack. Some of the window frames even had glass left in them. The lobby gave no indication of the catastrophe that had happened outside, apart from the thick layer of dust that lay over the old couches, the coat racks in the cloakroom, and the reception desk. But something was niggling at me. In the dim light, I saw 2 sets of boot prints going towards the stairwell, and there were some animal tracks as well, similar to wolf tracks, but too big to belong to a wolf. Uh-oh. Hope I don't get killed for this. I started going up the stairs. The large iron door on the second floor was shut. Judging by the dust in front of the door and on the handle, it hadn't been opened in many years. The tracks continued on up to the 3rd floor. A muffled sound filtered down from somewhere above me, like a chair being knocked over. I think somebody's up there. Go up to the 3rd floor. The door to the 3rd floor was wide open. Beyond it, I saw a small vestibule with 3 iron doors. 2 of the doors had padlocks, but the 3rd was slightly ajar. There was a broken padlock lying on the floor next to it. The sign next to the door read, Department of Molecular Virology. I walked closer and heard a low, drawn-out sound like a moan. The corridor beyond the door was dark, but a little light was shining into it from the window behind me. And then I saw something half a meter in front of me. I can either turn on the flashlight and go into the corridor, or draw my weapon, turn on the flashlight, and go into the corridor. Let's do the second. Trying to move silently, I stepped into the dark corridor. The beam of my flashlight slid along the rough, whitewashed wall and landed on a sign on the nearest door. Please go. Please stop moving. But I couldn't hear anything behind the door. I went on. Yet another door, but this one didn't have a sign. However, there was a sign on the last door that read, Virus Structure Laboratory. There was some kind of noise coming from behind this door. The noise was muffled, but it sounded like growl. Like a growl. Go into the state collection of viruses, go into the chemotherapy lab, go into the unmarked room, go into the virus structure lab. So the virus structure lab is what has the dog in it. So let's go to the unmarked room first. Through the door there was a huge empty room. It looked like somebody had carried everything they could out of the place. All that was left was a hefty cabinet with open glass doors. Clearly, it was too large and heavy to move. The floor was littered with pieces of glass and tiles that had fallen off the walls. An extraction hood protruded from the ceiling. I discovered that the windows were shut tight and also sealed from the inside. There's nothing else noteworthy here. Go back to the corridor. Let's go into the state collection of viruses. I entered the small workroom and saw a solid steel door with a warning symbol and a sign that read, Protective clothing must be worn beyond this point. I shone the flashlight through the little windows and caught sight of the edge of a table. There was a rack of test tubes on the table. One more test tube lay on the table next to the rack, in a dried, muddy yellow puddle. Going in there without a hazmat suit would be really stupid. Go back to the corridor. Let's go to the chemotherapy lab. I cracked open the door cautiously and peeked inside. A few paces away from me, slumped back against a desk, was a man. Wait, okay. His head lolled to the side and his eyes were closed, but his lips were trembling faintly. He seemed to be unconscious. I looked at his legs and was hit by a wave of nausea. One foot was missing, and blood was streaming from the gruesome stump pulling on the floor around him. On the other leg, there was a huge wound in his thigh, like a piece of flesh had been ripped off. Approached the man and tried to wake him up. I didn't have any smelling salt on me, so I splashed some good old water in his face. His eyelids fluttered. Do you mind? Thanks. Sorry, everybody. His eyelids fluttered and the guy cracked open his bloodshot eyes. He was looking at me. He was staring off into space. I didn't know if the injured guy was seeing something. He was dying. He left. Alex. It was hurt by bullets. The wolf. Leg. Why we came. Help. So much blood. He shuddered a final time and was still. I closed his eyes and considered his work. The wolf that wasn't hurt by bullets, it must be somewhere nearby. But what should I do? Let's search the body. I rooted through the dead man's jacket pockets and pulled out a Makarov handgun with an empty magazine, a pack of Analogen, cigarettes, rusks, and matches. If the man had any other possessions, they weren't inside. So I got the handgun, the Analogen, the rusks, matches, and cigarettes. Searched the room. The room was pretty well preserved. On the table there were empty test tubes, measuring beakers, spirit lamps, and 2 microscopes. A hefty centrifuge lurked in the corner. In a glass-fronted cabinet, I saw neat rows of bulbous flasks containing chemical agents of various colors. I combed the room for any records or notes. I found a few newspaper clippings and a memo written by the lab technician, but there was nothing useful in them. Examine the cabinet of chemical agents. My attention was immediately drawn to a large flask labeled urea hydrogen peroxide. Excuse you, please stop doing that so I can read it. I recalled the wolf that had no fear of bullets. What if I weakened it with smoke first? I put on rubber gloves and poured all the Analogen I'd found in the dead man's pockets into a beaker. I crushed it with a pestle and sprinkled it on top of the urea hydrogen peroxide. Then I made cones out of newspaper and packed them with the mixture. The smoke bombs are ready. So I spent the 5 Analogen and got 2 smoke bombs, 5 sulfuric acid, 10 antibiotics, 1,000 saltpeter, and 1,000 sulfur. I'll take it. So now all I've got left that I can do is go into the virus structure to fight this wolf. Oh my lord. I went up to the door and heard a low, threatening snarl. Whatever was in the room, it had heard my footsteps or smelled me. Thanks. The door opened into the room. I gave it a quiet nudge and peered through the opening. Inside was a small workroom. I saw another door and a black beast stood in front of it. The creature looked like a wolf, except that it was twice the size of any normal specimen. My flashlight revealed the dirty, coal-black coat. The creature turned its horrible, bloodied muzzle towards me and sniffed the air deeply. It must use smell and sound to orient itself. It had large yellow blisters while its eyes show. So we have got to fight this guy. Let's see how this works out. Keep going. The wolf jumped right at me. The door withstood the impact of its massive body, but I was sent flying against the corridor wall. My first reaction was to grab my gun, but then I lowered it, reconsidering. Going into this fight unprepared would be suicide. suicide. So can I go back to the corridor and go prepare? No, I can't. No, I didn't mean to do that. Oh my God, why did I do that? Oh my God, this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. And of course, I'm missing every freaking shot. Oh, I was trying to scroll it up. Of course, I was trying to scroll it up, but instead, what does it do? It just attacks. Nice. How many attacks is this guy gonna get? Yeah, he's gonna tear me a new one. Screw you, wolf. Oh, this is not gonna end well. Yeah, I'm pretty much dead. I can't even believe that I survived that fight. It was like the beast didn't feel pain at all. I have 1 hit point left, people. When I seriously injured it, it showed no signs of shock. It didn't weaken from blood loss. I can't say the same for myself. Go into the inner room. The interior wall was all scratched up by the wolf's claws and teeth. I turned the handle and pushed, but the door didn't budge. I pushed with all my strength, but still it didn't move. Was it locked? No, something wasn't right. The wolf wouldn't guard it like that? I listened, not a sound. Shout, open up, everything's okay. I killed it. This guy. About a minute later, I heard a sharp scraping sound behind the door. Please stop. At last, the handle began to turn. I took a step back. A short and stocky young guy appeared before me. He barely reached my shoulders, but his look of pure joy transformed into one of horror when he saw the gun barrel pointed straight at his face. In a quiet voice, he shuddered the words. Oh, I thought it was Vadim. Who are you? Who am I? Just an average drifter. Who might you be? I'm Alex, said the kid, grinning broadly. My buddy and me live not far from here, near Mitishji. Ever been? No? Sometimes we make trips into the city, do a quick run through the grocery stores, and then straight back home. No? Don't go thinking we're bandits or something. Yeah, I bet you're a bandit. We've never laid a finger on anybody. I used to be a chef, and Vadim worked as a senior engineer. We don't even know how to shoot. We're completely harmless. Yeah, I bet. I found a pistol on your buddy. Yeah, tell me another lie. Our luck ran out this time. The beast was tracking us. We decided to hide in the institute, and it came after us. Vadim fell behind, and I got stuck here in this room. Jumping out the window was my last resort. Thank you for saving me. You're a good guy. I'll never forget it. He reached out to hug me, but took a wary step back. But he took a wary step back. Don't be afraid. We don't even have a weapon. Hey, you didn't sense Vadim around, did you? Did he survive? What? He died from blood loss. The body's in the next room. He had a gun on him. You say you're unarmed? A gun. He wet his lips and looked over me appraisingly. So it looks like Vadim had a gun and he never told me. He lied to me. Yeah, I bet he did. I still feel sorry for him. He was a good guy. Well, he isn't the first and he won't be the last. I guess I'd better go. I can't even see the hole now, and I suppose I need to organize a memorial for Vadim, so thanks again, old man. Maybe I'll see you around. He turned around and walked towards the backpack hanging on the back of the chair. He lifted it up and came back towards me. I was still standing in the doorway, blocking the path. He nodded towards the door, asking me to let him pass. Sorry, pal, but you can't just walk out of here. Show me what's in the backpack, because I'm not stupid. Man, and then I was thinking that you were one of the good guys, Alex snibbled. I thought you were this noble dude going around saving people, but I see now you were planning to rob me. Well, screw you. He reached into the rucksack and pulled out a food can. I don't have anything of value. He pulled out another can. I only have food for a couple of days. He set a bag of pasta next to the can. So are you going to take it? Take it. A bag of buckwheat grain appeared after the pasta. I'll die of starvation. Hope that weighs on your conscience. I hope you suffer over it. He pulled out some canned meat. But if you want, I can take away your suffering. And this time, instead of more provisions from the depths of his rucksack, Alex pulled out a gun. Fire back. I'm about to die. Maybe not. If I could keep this dude dealt with these bombs, I might stand a chance. I've got plenty of... Yeah. This is crazy. I have 1 hit point left. And I'm bleeding out, apparently. The man gasped his last. I dragged the body into the corner. Then I started looking around the place where the man had hidden from the wolf. The only furniture in the room was a cabinet, a desk, and a chair, and the room was scarcely bigger than the workroom where I'd found the wolf. There were 2 more doors, but shut with heavy padlocks. The desk drawers contained nothing interesting, but then in the cabinet I discovered an almost brand new hazmat suit hanging in the slipcover. I stowed it in my backpack. Go back to the corridor. Wait a minute. Something's not right here, because I swear... Put on the hazmat suit and go in. The room was very long, and the far wall was swallowed by darkness. The collection of viruses was laid out across 3 tables in test tubes secured in racks. Certain test tubes were empty. As I panned my flashlight across the rest, I saw that they contained cloudy yellow, pink, or pale green liquid. There was broken glass and dried puddles on the floor and tables, and patches of gray-brown mold appeared in patches on the wooden tabletop. I couldn't smell anything from inside the hazmat suit, of course, but I would bet that the place had a fair stench about it. Carefully searched the room. The smashed test tubes indicated that the building had been shaken during the nuclear attack, but not violently enough to overturn the chairs. There was microscopes on a bench running along the far wall. A chunk of plaster was sticking out from under the table. It probably fell off during the bombing. I bent down and saw a hole in the wall. There was something inside. Reach into the hole and pull out the object. Letter to Tula. Dear Nadiziada. Sure, we'll go with that. When you read this message, I beg you, do as I say. I don't want to frighten you, but things are bad. Nesterov didn't come to the lab today. The rest is illegible, the ink is blurred, the receipt's address is on the envelope. Blah, 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 prospect. Go out to the stairs and leave the institute. Don't die, don't die, don't die. Okay. By golly, we didn't die, guys. That was a close one. That was a close one. That is why I always recommend the Lucky Devil perk. Because, as you can see, that is the only thing that saved my skin in that battle. And from the looks of it, I can't guarantee I will live long enough to... yeah, that was insanity. But I could have sworn that whenever I came across the blind beast, which I did screw that up because I didn't use the smoke bomb like I should have. Oops. But I could have sworn that if you do that mission, you got the pet wolf cub, because there is a wolf cub that you can get in this game. Just like the pet raven that I have, you can get a pet wolf cub. Now, how exactly it was that I got it, I can't quite say. So let's see what we can do. Finish this real quick. I got you, I'm making a video. Oh, I've got time. Let me wrap this up. I'm doing a video right now. I got you, bud. And so, get back over here, and I need to get heal. Now, we're okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short. There's a few things I needed to take care of. I'll probably go ahead and produce a second part to this video after work today. We will just see how that goes. So with that, I hope y'all are enjoying this Day R Survival. I love it. It's my favorite game in the world. I ain't gonna lie. But with that being said, I will see y'all in the next video. If y'all like what I'm doing and y'all want to see more, hit that subscribe button, share, turn on notifications. Definitely throw a like in there too. Drop a comment down in the comment section. Let me know if there's anything specific that you would like to see me produce. And I will see you in the next video.